dip with avocado and garlic. This is really yummy. You can make it as smooth or as chunky as you want. We're going to use a food processor. For the beans, you're going to need 1.5 cups of white beans. Now you can either go with canned or you can go with dried, which is what I went with. I have the Great Northern beans. So let me tell you about cooking these, because if you're new to this, this will be all new news and you don't necessarily want to follow the package directions. But they do have a good tip on here, so don't let dried beans scare you off. I did what's called the quick soak. So you decide how many beans you want, and I made more because, you know, dried beans, it's hard to measure them and know how much they're going to be when they're cooked. So I did about 2 cups of beans, put them in a big pot, filled it with water, and I brought it to a rapid boil. And once it was boiling, I let it boil for 2 minutes. Then I turned off the heat. If you have an electric stove, you have to move the pan off the heat source, put a lid on it, and keep the lid on it for 1 hour off heat. Okay, that's called the quick soak. Then you're going to take that pot and you're going to dump it into a big colander in the sink and rinse them off completely and put them back in the pan with more water. Now you're going to bring it to a boil one more time, but once it boils, you have to turn it down so it's just simmering. And once it's simmering, take the lid and put it on, but put it just a little bit off so that it's not completely on. You know how the edge around the pot needs to be a little bit open. All right, so here's the thing, and this is where I don't like their directions. Their directions say to simmer it gently with the lid tilted for 1.5 to 2 hours. So I hardly ever cooked dried beans. Maybe I should do it more often. So 1.5 hours later, I'm checking the beans and they're like overcooked. So check them at 1 hour of simmering. If they need a little more time, give it 10-minute increments, because if they start to come apart and you see pieces of beans or pieces of the outer part of the bean and the water, it's too much, it's too far, and you don't want to have mushy bean. Well, for the dip, it doesn't matter if they're mushy, but let's say you made more because you want to add some to a salad or you just want to have some on the side. You don't want mushy beans, so make sure you check, and then once they're done, drain them and rinse them one more time, and for the dip, measure out 1.5 cups. Start off by zesting a lemon and reserve half a teaspoon of lemon zest for later. In the food processor, add the 1.5 cups of white beans, 1/2 of an avocado, 1 or 2 cloves of garlic depending on how much you like garlic, 1 tablespoon of tamari, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and then process. You might have to stop once or twice and scrape down the sides. You might even choose to pulse the processor so that you can decide on how chunky you want it. Then when it's done, put it in a bowl and add that lemon zest and give it a stir. I finished off the dip with about 1/8 of a cup of chopped walnuts just to give it some extra crunch. So here I'm serving it with a variety of different foods. I have some traditional corn chips and crackers. These are gluten-free crackers, and also some cucumber wedges and slices of wide pieces of red pepper. These are a great way to serve this dip. Give it a try, and I hope you like it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I'm making baked carrots with basil and maple today. These are fairly easy to make. You can either julienne them by hand, or I'm going to show you how to julienne them